Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Ah, the latte liberal. I'm so oppressed, says LeBron James, sitting on his $1 billion in his $37 million LA mansion. Oh, actually not sitting in his $37 million LA mansion because he tore it down because it wasn't good enough so he can build another one. And I'm not saying that out of jealousy. I do quite well myself. I'm not exactly jealous or complaining. I love celebrating people's success. But when you're successful like that and you try to paint yourself as a little victim, it's cringe. And you're selling victimhood for internet clout points, for political brownie points, when you know it's BS. And a family that's doing that exact thing right now are the Obamas. The family that not too long ago occupied the White House and since has enriched themselves extraordinarily. I mean, I'd probably say that their net worth is easily over $50 million at this point, possibly even more. One of the highest levels of privilege that you could have in American society right now is having Obama as your last name. And here they are playing the victim in the most cringe and pathetic way possible, tweeting about how victimized and oppressed they are while on a mega yacht vacation in the Greek islands. Caught in frickin' 4K. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so we got this tweet right over here from Benny Johnson. Photos have just leaked of Michelle Obama currently vacationing on a massive private yacht on a private island in Greece. This means the Obamas were rage tweeting about being, quote, oppressed and victimized after the SCOTUS affirmative action ruling from this luxury yacht. I mean, you really can't make this stuff up. Here you have the Obamas, the first family, the former first family, tweeting about how unfair American society is, while on a freaking mega yacht as the most privileged family in America right now. We all know the details about the affirmative action SCOTUS decision. Needless to say, it was the right decision. Well, as the news was breaking, here's a message that Michelle Obama released while vacationing on her private island from her private yacht. Back in college, I was one of the few black students on my campus, and I was proud of getting into such a respected school. I knew that I'd worked hard for it, but still, I sometimes wondered if people thought I got there because of affirmative action. It was a shadow that students like me couldn't shake, whether those doubts came from the outside or inside our own minds. But the fact is, I belonged, and semester after semester, decade after decade, for more than half a century, countless students like me showed that they belonged too. It wasn't just the kids of color who benefited either. Every student who heard a perspective that they might not have encountered, who had their minds and their hearts opened, gained a lot as well. It wasn't perfect. There's no doubt that it helped offer new ladders of opportunity for those who, throughout our history, have too often been denied a chance to show how fast they can climb. Of course, students on my campus and countless others across the country were, and continue to be, granted special consideration for admission. Some have parents who graduated from the same school, others have families who can afford coaches to help them run faster or hit a ball harder, others go to high schools with lavish resources for tutors and extensive standardized test prep that help them score higher on college entrance exams. We don't usually question if those students belong. So often we just accept that money, power, and privilege are perfectly justifiable forms of affirmative action, while kids growing up like I did are expected to compete when the ground is anything but level. So today my heart breaks for any young person out there who's wondering what their future holds and what kind of chances will be open to them. And while I know the strength and the grit that lies inside kids who have always had to sweat a little more to climb the same ladders, I hope and I pray that the rest of us are willing to sweat a little too. Today is a reminder that we've got some work to do, not just to enact policies that reflect our values of equity and fairness, but to truly make those values real in our schools, workplace, and neighborhoods. Alright, so sounds lovely, makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, but I don't think that Michelle Obama is making the point that she thinks she's making. She's actually kind of making a point against affirmative action. The opening statement, she writes an account of her insecurity, how she feels as though when she was in college, she doubted whether she belonged, or whether others viewed her as just the product of affirmative action. She writes this in outrage, as affirmative action was struck down, but she's showing us exactly why affirmative action is total BS. It puts a label, it puts stigma on Black and Latino students, a feeling as if they only got there because of the soft bigotry of low expectations, that the system granted them that position even though they didn't earn it. That to me just doesn't seem like a good thing. She's arguing that affirmative action allowed them to prove that they belonged, that they earned it, while arguing simultaneously in a system that essentially gives you a free pass. It seems a little bit contradictory. We need this system of equity and giving people a free pass based on the pigmentation of their skin so they can prove prove to the world that they earned it. It fundamentally makes no sense. And here she is, tweeting from her yacht about how terrible it is and how awful American society is, and how hard it is for someone like her to make it in society while literally being a freaking walking icon in the media, vacationing across the world at a whim's notice. I just want to go to Greece on an island, because that's how I feel on this random Tuesday today, and boom, she's there. I mean, give me a break. The racial component is what I find so toxic here. You know, she describes this privilege of students who have family members who previously went to a college or university, getting a legacy admission advantage, or students who go to the best schools, have the best tutors, the best programs. She's claiming that it's an unfair privilege and it's not a level playing field, but then equates that privilege to race. And that's completely bogus. Because now, I mean, look at her children. They're getting that exact same privilege. They're going to get into any school that they want simply because Obama is their last name. They're going to have lived the most privilege of life. And guess what? It has absolutely nothing to do with race and everything to do with social status and, of course, hard work from the students themselves. The problem with affirmative action is that it's racially discriminatory. You know, there's a whole lot of white students who grew up poor, single-family households, maybe their parents were drug addicts. You don't know their problems. I mean, there's tons of white people who have everything working against them in their youth, but they're not given an extra bump in the college admission process. No, they're being discriminated against, while Black and Latino students are being prioritized. The system is simply unjustifiable. And here we have these leftoids trying to make it all about race.
What you're seeing is severe backlash in the sense that people do not want to see Black and brown people excel in this country. And I think it's a really something that is unfortunate that we have to pay attention to, and allowing the courts to legitimize and license discrimination in this kind of way really makes our country not the country that we want it to be, not the kind of future that we want to push forward.
What you are seeing is a severe backlash in the sense that people do not want to see Black and brown people excel in this country. I mean, what an absurd, awful statement. What people want is simple fairness. People don't want equity, they want equality. And people want to see an end to this privilege grift, this victimhood grift. You have the most privileged people in society claiming that they're victims of oppression, that without these programs in this terrible, awful, evil country, they would never be where they are today. Give me a break. At the end of the day, the only fair system is a system that is legitimately colorblind and also privilege blind. Maybe college admissions should be nameless. It should be student 1052234. That's the only way to achieve actual equality, to ensure that society is being built with true meritocratic values. Instead, we see discrimination and the soft bigotry of low expectations. You know, Republicans on this issue are simply saying that Black people are just as capable as anybody else. They can work hard and achieve the same as anybody else if they put their minds to it. And Democrats are saying that Black people aren't capable enough to get into Ivy League schools, and so they need extra assistance. And they should be granted said extra assistance because of history. Meanwhile, struggling white people are struggling Asian people who come from struggle and broken families. Not my problem. It's a twisted worldview. The optics are awful. The leftist argument is an argument for Black privilege and Hispanic privilege. That's what equity means. I'm just going to state it unequivocally. Nobody should ever be judged by the color of their skin, regardless of the circumstance. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.